All right, welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 348. Today is the 14th of July, 2021, and we are going to get rolling. Bradley's going to have something to say here in a minute, but if you're watching us now and we disappear, just know that the electrical gods out there may have wreaked havoc with a lightning storm. So we'll get to that a little bit more in a minute, though. So let's go ahead and say hello to everybody, and then before we dive into your questions, we also got a couple of short announcements. Let's go around the circle here. Chris, I'm glad you're here with us. You've been having some crazy weather too, man. How you doing today?
Actually, today is really good on the weather end. Unlike yesterday where we had like kind of a small sandstorm for half of the day. But today was just humid and well, warm, not too like crazy or anything. So quite happy, productive day.
Awesome. Good stuff. Marco, how you doing today? How's the weather down there?
A sandstorm in the Alps, and I get this. What do you know, man? It is what it is. Man, you guys have been seeing it. It's over a year, day after day, hump day after hump day. Every one of the webinars that I do, it's right here in this spot, and man, blessed. I can't say anything but got a lot of things that I'm working on, man. Lots of software getting ready to push out, just lots of things, man, lots of things. To me, ranking has never been, I'm not going to say easy, but simpler. Once you got the foundation right, and once you know where you're pushing and prodding and how you're manipulating, it's really simple. People allow so-called experts and gurus and ninjas to complicate things. And they have to make it complicated to keep selling you more and more and more and more, because simple doesn't sell well. Because if it seems too good to be true, people have been told, well, it probably is. But they don't remember that probably, not all the time, probably. In this case, and how we show time after time after time, case study after case study, person who takes our training after person, who follows everything to the letter. Because the thing about working with foundational principles is you can't skip them because they're foundational principles. So how in the hell do we tell you these are foundational principles, meaning you have to apply them, and then you don't because you want to skip, because you think, what was that? Well, I don't care what you think, but because you think that you should be doing something different or something else. Well, then why are you even listening to me? Why, if you already know, or if you think you know better, then go away, go do something else. Don't waste your time with me or waste my time with you. It doesn't make sense. Apply the foundational principles and watch the magic happen. And Google updates don't matter. Google updates do not matter. I don't give a shit if it's page speed, user experience, whatever the hell it is, they don't matter. The way that we're doing it, it doesn't make any difference because we're in the belly of the beast. We're in the heart of the algorithms, manipulating them. Or you can just go do like other people doing and guess and hope. And you know, a year, 2 years later, when you've wasted, one guy in the past 5 years who has spent over $300,000 and not gotten results. Of course, he hasn't spent them with us. But I know he did. I talk to the guy on a regular basis, and he just doesn't. It's up to him. He wants to keep spending his money. Cool. Spinning his wheels. Cool. Meantime, in the last 5 years, what have I done? I've only developed, we as a company have developed RYS Academy, local GMB Pro, local PR Pro with Bradley. Just everything that you need to make this shit work. And yet here we are. And where are you? Enough said.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Bradley, I'm glad you're still here with us and that we're still live. So besides the lightning storm going on, how you doing today?
Good. I'm busy. I'm on the very tail end of a 72-hour fast. I've got 2 more hours, and I haven't had a fucking thing to eat in 70 hours right now. So my dinner time is scheduled for 6 p.m. tonight. Will be the first bite of food I've had in 72 hours, and I'm so looking forward to it. So it's been crazy. Like people think that you have less energy when you're fasting, but that's actually the exact opposite. And I've been fucking wired for days, man. Like having trouble sleeping and everything else, but I'm certainly hungry and looking forward to eating this evening. So I'm a little bit like shaky right now just because I'm like all amped up. And it's again 100% just like fasting, which is insane. But yeah, I'm here. I'm happy. I got lots of stuff going on as well. We've got some big announcements coming up in a few weeks, and just a lot of good things going on right now. I agree with Marco. I think right now is one of the best times to be in SEO. Some of the tools and stuff that are available, just it gives us such an unfair advantage if you know how to use the tools, and piece different tools together, and just there's just so many good things going on right now. It's an exciting time for sure.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I've never done anything close to 72 hours, so I can only imagine.
This is my first time. I've done several 48-hour fasts, but never a 72. So this is my first time.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to switch gears very heavily here. I saw someone in the mastermind posted about AppSumo deals. They're kind of doing their post like Amazon. I think Amazon had their Amazon Prime days or something, and now AppSumo has their deals. And man, we talk about shiny objects and avoiding it, but somebody mentioned it. I went and looked. I've already picked up two tools with some lifetime licenses that I think are going to be really good. One's a metric reporting tool that's called Guyana, I think. And then there's one, Bradley, that you may know about. I forgot the name already. I've got to go back and hook it up, but it's for cold email prospecting warm-up. They've got a lifetime deal. So people who missed out on like Lemlist, I think was the last one that did this. This is something nice that you can use to warm up your email account.
Definitely shoot me the link to that, man. Because I switched to using Gmass warm-up feature, which is free, but it's not as good as Lemlist. But Lemlist, I was paying $29 per account, and I had like 5 or 6 different accounts doing that. So yeah, if there's another one for AppSumo, definitely please send it to me.
Cool. Yeah, and I just put on the page the AppSumo link. You guys should check it out again. I do this. I'm saying it responsibly. If there's nothing you need, don't buy it. Don't buy a bunch of shit. Don't let it collect digital dust. But a lifetime deal can be a hell of a thing. It is obviously, you sometimes get what you pay for, but I don't know about you guys. Have had some great results with some AppSumo deals over the years. So cool. With that said, I just wanted to remind people we've had our own deals that went on over the 4th of July. We appreciate people who took advantage of those, and we had several people join the mastermind during that with a $10 trial, which was great, and happy to now have them be members in the mastermind. So if you're ready to grow your digital marketing business, you should be checking out the mastermind. You can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. And of course, we have POFU Live 2021 coming up at the end of September. All right. And if you want to find out more about that, of course, head over to pofulive.com. We're getting ready to update that later in the month with more details on the speakers and the topics. And we are going to be having some additional speakers come in. So if you check that out and you're interested now, grab your ticket as well, because now is the lowest price you can get your ticket for. And then we're going to be having even more updates and more added. So just a really good time to get in on that. So with that said, guys, anything else we need to cover before we get into questions?
Yeah, I just pinged you in Slack about a question.
Let me, it kind of is. Let me cryptically answer your question, Bradley, and then I'll let you take it from here. If people have watched it and mentioned it, Jeremy said he will talk to people. So I'll let you decide how you want to let people know.
All right. If anybody has saw the recent offer that was opened up for Press Advantage with the new premium features, I believe the offer is closed, but if you had scheduled or had seen the offer and you schedule a demo call, he'll take your call apparently and still provide you with that offer. So if you missed out on it while it was open, then schedule a demo call with the team over at Press Advantage, and they'll get you sorted.
And be very nice about it and say, dang it, I missed it. I was busy. Please let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So by the way, press releases are still crushing it. I use them so much. It's one of my primary link building methods. And I've actually kind of adopted more what Marco has said publicly many times. I was using press releases for a long time to also link back to my money site, which I still do for every single site. I always do a URL anchor press release, and I also do a brand anchor press release. So I kind of pillow the site with URL and brand anchors from press releases because it's a whole bunch of them and it works out really great. And then I can do some more targeted link building stuff. But I'm doing like keyword anchor text press building or press release link building to like tier 1 entity assets. And that tends to work incredibly well, like the G sites, GMB websites, all that kind of stuff. So, press releases are just such a powerful, powerful thing, guys. If you're not using them, you absolutely should be.
It's link building.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not only are you getting the word out about whatever it is that you're doing, not only are you going to pick up traffic, but it's also link building. Think of however many pickups it has. Well, those are links back to your site, and however they are, whether they're follow, whether no follow, any other type of thing. If you're getting a hot link, an image that's hot linked in there, if you're getting an iframe in there, all of those combined are all link building back to wherever it is that you do. This is why I don't like doing it to the website, and why I recommend for people not to do it, because most people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they can screw themselves really bad because of all those links coming back to the website. But if you do it to everything else and you selectively choose those that are follow, and you hit those, and you have that set up correctly so that the power is amplified, what happens is unbelievable, simply because of how we build up the power. So we exponentiate the power. And when you push into that, well, you're just pushing into something that's already exponentiating. So imagine the power. It's kind of mind blowing when you think, well, it's already an exponential, but I'm pushing an exponential into an exponential, and then I can push another exponential into that. And then it becomes ridiculous when you start thinking in those terms. And again, foundational principles, because math is what the web is founded on. You cannot code without math. You cannot code without math, and the foundation of the web is math. And as long as you understand math and how everything is then working, well, you're good to go, because then you can push power anywhere you want.
Yeah, and just two things. One is the last check that I did, which in fact, in just the last week and a half or 2 weeks, there are now even more sites that are being published on from a press, even at even if you don't have the premium subscription yet, the new tier that has just been opened up by Press Advantage, even regular subscribers are getting more pickups now, because I keep getting emails from press releases that were published a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that are saying your PR got more pickups, and it's because they just got pushed out across a new network. But so I haven't even checked all those, but from what we had before from a couple of weeks ago, I did a do follow link check on the all the press releases, and there was 74 do follow links out of the press release distribution network. So that's really powerful. And then, like Marco said, I've been linking back a lot lately, stacking back to the press release or Press Advantage organization page, because you can really power that up. I've got one location that I've just done multiple link backs to. So essentially, I'll have whatever link it is that I'm having my press release, but then I have a second link that goes back to the organization page, and I've been able to push trust flow numbers up to 30 with that alone. It's pretty insane. So it's just working really, really well still. And I have not even started using the premium distribution network yet. So I'm anxious to see what that'll do as well. So, all right, let me grab the screen. You guys confirm you're seeing it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, the first question is from Jack. He says, is there any type of schema markup code we can add into Google Map embed codes we place on our websites or on mgyb embed gigs? That's a question for you, Marco.
Yeah, there is, but why? I don't understand. The point is, if we're working foundational principles, then your schema code will be in the entity stack or the add ID page, what we used to call the add ID page, which is actually an entity stack. Is everything about your organization, your local business, your brand. So if you've done your iframes correctly and you have your schema in that and it's on the website, what's the point of trying to get into the embed code where it's not supposed to be? You can. Google does read. I mean, I show that in the paid groups. I'm not going to show it here. You can get it in there. You can force Google, but why? Google does a great job of reading it on your website, does a great job of reading it just wherever you share it. Through the iframes, when you're sharing those, Google will look at it. We show it. We show how Google will actually pick up the schema code from the iframe, the title, the description from the iframe, and display that. It's fantastic. We've outranked the website that we iframe for the keyword through an iframe, which you would think it's ridiculous and that you can't do, and you can totally do. That's how powerful iframes are. And so once again, you go to foundational principles first. You build on those. And then if you need extra power, that's when you start pushing all the extra hacks, all these different things that are available that you can do, but only when you're done and when you need more power, and not until. Because then when you start doing all these other things, you don't really know, like you're not saving anything back, and you don't know if you could have stopped, let's say halfway, or if you could have just gotten let's say your shield, your SEO power shield, and that would have helped you push for whatever it was that you were looking to do. Then why did you do everything else? It was a waste of time. You didn't need it. You could have saved it so that when the competition came knocking, you got a bunch of bullets in that chamber waiting on them to hit them. Bam, 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 one right after the other. And it's a done deal again. They can't touch you. But if you go and you shoot everything all at once and you miss, then when they come for you, what are you going to do? Except go crawl under the bed and cry because you spent all your money. Yeah, you spent all your money. You got nothing to do except go cry because you can't do anything else.
In the
Think
fetal
about
position.
that. Fetal, yeah. If it's, oh God, what do I do now? Somebody shoot me. Al Bundy, right? The famous shoot me, please. No, guys, no. Work on the foundations. We do a really good job of teaching those in the Semantic Mastery Mastermind and in the Heavy Hitter Club. We'll take you through all the foundational principles. Is exactly how I laid it out in the Heavy Hitter Club training. It's how Semantic Mastery developed. It's how the the SEO shield is set up. Everything that we do is set up on foundational principles. Follow those first. Then start looking for the hacks and these little tips and tricks that they're out there. If you want to, you can go and find it. But while you're doing that, you could be setting down a solid foundation so that when you do use those, it'll have an even greater effect.
There you go. So the next question is from Chris. Well, Chris posted it from, I guess, the Facebook group. He says, the question was, I signed up for a lead generation course, Rank and Rent, about 2 years ago. They taught the basics okay, but their backlink strategies are weak. Copying competitors, blog comments, etc. Only work in low or no competition fields and have been a waste of time for the most part. I'm looking for some high quality backlink training, perhaps PBN setup that works in 2021 so that I can confidently rank sites in competitive niches and get all my lead generation sites to the top of page 1. Do you have any recommendations? Okay, yeah. First, I don't recommend doing PBNs, like setting them up yourself. It is incredibly difficult to do that properly now. It just takes a ton of work, and you have to be really, really good about, having diversified hosts and name servers, and it's very difficult to do it properly. So I don't recommend that. So here's the thing. What we teach absolutely works, especially for local. And even on the organic side, if you don't have GMB stuff, and I know that because I've spent the last 2 months, maybe 10 weeks, somewhere 8 to 10 weeks around there, really focusing on our organic stuff using our methods. And I can tell you without a doubt, it fucking crushes it. Okay. The number one thing that you need to do is have entity tuned content on your money site, period. Do that. And you use our SEO shield, which includes a syndication network, RYS, Drive Stack, and G site, which you theme mirror your money site into that. So essentially your RYS, Drive Stack, and your G site will have the same kind of structure that your money site does. And then your ID page, and powering those up. But here's the thing. You can go into each one of those tier 1 entity assets and you can modify your link back to your money pages on your site with whatever appropriate anchor text ratios you need. And what I've been doing lately is I've been going through and looking at the top 10 competitors that are the same type of site. So for example, I do strictly local. So a lot of the sites on the top 10 organic competitors are going to be Home Advisor, Angie's List, Lawn Starter would be as a big one that is a competitor in my industry because I do tree service stuff. So I don't count those when I'm doing like backlink analysis and anchor text ratios. I just look at whatever other local business websites are ranked in the top 10 organic positions. And then I do kind of an average. And this is a method that I learned from a Matt Diggity blog post about just do an average of anchor text ratios and the type of anchor text categories. And again, you can go look this up on his blog and it works well. But what I'm saying is what I've been finding, because for a long time, I didn't do any sort of research on this at all because of our methods. We never didn't need to, but I had focused strictly on maps ranking for the last several years. recently I've been working a lot on organic side of things and seeing incredible results. And the biggest things, like I said, entity tuned content. So SEO tuned content that's done properly. There's plenty of tools out there to do it. Then also, like I said, go through your tier 1 entity assets, the SEO shield assets essentially, and you can go through and modify the link backs to your homepage or the internal pages of your money site with the appropriate anchor text ratios using your tier 1 entity assets. If you need additional links or additional anchor text coming back, here's the thing: with the syndication network, you already have branded Web 2.0 assets. So go in, and here's where I've found a lot of really good success lately, is going in, logging into each one of those, like Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress. Those 3 alone are all that you really need, and publishing individual articles that are also SEO tuned or entity tuned articles with a very specific anchor text link pointing back to my money page, so that I can get my anchor text ratios within average or within range of what the other competitors are. Doesn't matter how many links I have. All that matters is the anchor text ratios, getting it within the kind of same range as what the other competitors ranked on page 1 are. Then, so again, going in, and I'm not talking about syndicating a blog post to your money site, which syndicates out to network. That's standard. We do that anyways. But I'm talking about going into like Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress and publishing a separate article on each one of them. So individual unique article on each one of them that is also tuned, SEO tuned content. Then you can kind of modify or manipulate your anchor text ratios that way. And now you can do the same thing in your G site, by the way, and you should. Even like some of the drive stack files and stuff like that, you can do it with as well. But then you can just hammer the shit out of those tier 1 entity assets with kind of broader, topical anchor text. So that's without location modifiers, target anchor text with location modifiers. You can still hit them with brand anchor text, which is, I recommend that you do, because they're still tier 1 entity assets. So here's the thing, like if you go publish an article on just a Web 2.0 site out there, that's just kind of an orphaned Web 2.0 site, or it's a persona-based profile or something like that, then it's a little bit odd to hit those posts with anchor text, branded anchor text, right? But when because it's odd, and that's not something that people typically would do, is hit a blog post on somebody's personal blog with a branded anchor text. A lot of times it's just kind of unnatural looking. But if you've got your branded syndication network, which you should have anyways, then it absolutely makes sense to hit a individual post on your branded syndication network properties with a branded anchor. And so again, what I've been finding, and I don't know what industry you're in, but specifically with tree services, as I've done a lot of research on organic rankings, is it's just insane to see how many tree service sites are ranked on page 1 organically with literally less than 10 links, like under 10 links. It's insane. And so it's really been almost unfair, the kind of gains that I've been getting in the last 2 months by just doing exactly what I just mentioned, which is going through our tier 1 entity assets that we set up, through the SEO shield, manipulating my anchor text ratios to get, doesn't matter how many links my money site has, it just matters the anchor text ratios, because then I just pound the tier 1 entity assets with links, and that pushes all the power through even just a handful of links back to the money site. And I've been ranking pages organically like crazy. Stuff that was typically on page 3 or 4 because I didn't care about organic rankings for so long, now on page 1. Several of them within the top 5, and we're talking about over about an 8 to 10 week period. And I've been just methodically doing that for all the different pages that I've had. And it's been working like crazy. So believe it or not, link building for local sites, at least in my industry, is not that difficult. You just have to know a proper strategy. And I really just told you what it was. And that's my input. Marco, I know you probably have something different. You're muted.
Sorry, we're focusing more on content and schema.
Yeah.
And how we set up our link building targets, the way that we interlink that to push power. I mean, that's my focus, the foundational focus, and the way that we focus on the SEO side of this is to go after the distance graph and the ranking score algorithms, because what we're trying to build up is the best entity in the niche. And so when we're able to, once we're able to do that, then every other website is compared to yours rather than you being compared to some other website.
Good point.
Once you're there, then nothing else matters. Like I said, the updates don't matter. Nothing matters because you are the entity that's compared, that all other entities are compared against. And how we do that? Well, that's Heavy Hitter Club. We've shown, and as a matter of fact, we're doing something, a content webinar series where we're going to be covering all of these. We just started this past Monday, how you can focus your content and hyper tune your content. So it's not just one piece of software that's going to get you there. It's not just conversion AI. It's not just whatever else it is that you're going to use. It's not just inlinks. No, we're using 5 different pieces of software to fine tune that entity and to find additional entities and even entities that other software miss to bring everything into play. Because when you can expand the entity, and maybe I'm getting a little too technical for people, because what we're doing is we're expanding the entity so that ours becomes, again, the one that everything else is compared to, because nobody else is expanding it the way we are. And then you can do the link building. You can actually do anything. Sometimes you don't even have to do link building now. Sometimes it's just schema and content that wins, of course, with the SEO shield in place and everything else, which you can consider a type of link building. But that's what we're doing. So when you do that, it's like you said, it's unfair. It's unfair because everybody else is fighting. Oh my God, we had a core update, we had a spam update. As a matter of fact, there was a core update, 2 spam updates, and a core update. Supposedly, I don't know. I can't tell because all my stuff always wins and comes out better in the end. But people are saying, they lost a ton of traffic. I've seen 10 to 15% traffic losses and 10 to 15%. Of course, when somebody loses, somebody wins. 10 to 15% traffic win. And all it is, you can get that traffic back through content, but through doing it correctly, which is what we're focusing on in the Heavy Hitter Club. It's, like I said, it's good times. It's good stuff happening, and it's fairly simple. Like you said, you're focusing on anchor text ratios and links, and of course that tuned content.
Yeah,
I can almost guarantee you that is that tuned content that's helping you win.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. In fact, that's why I said, like, even if you're not doing as much anchor text or link building analysis or backlink analysis and stuff as I'm doing, what Marco just said is absolutely true. And that's why I preface, like, entity tune content is the number one most important thing. That and schema, as Marco said, there's no question. And so on your money side, you can do entity tune content plus your schema, right? Then you're throughout all your tier 1 entity assets, you can do the same thing. So you get your G site back from the RYS drive stack, the SEO shield, and go in and tune that content, right? You go tune the content on those. And if you're theme mirroring, which you should be, right? Mirroring your site structure on your G site, you want to entity tune all of the pages, the mirrored pages on your site too. And that's what I'm doing, and it's working incredibly well. And then, like I said, the same thing goes for the blogs in the syndication network. You can go through and publish entity tune content there, so they're individual unique articles on each one of your platforms there. And again, that is a link. It's still a link, but it's not like traditional link building because it's not necessarily an external link because it's part of the entity. So that's what I'm saying. Like what Marco said is absolutely true. I think the things that move the needles the most right now is content, entity tune content, which again, as Marco said, I'm using 5 different tools too. Mine are probably slightly different than his, but we are accomplishing similar outcomes by using various sets of tools, which there may be something coming in the future from that, from us anyway. We'll talk about that at a later date, but it works incredibly well. Like I said, I've just been focusing somewhat on some link building stuff just because I haven't done that in years. And I've found some pretty good methods that are working, repeatedly, reliably. They're working over and over again. So that was a good question, though. I like that question. The next one, Franklin the Turtle, says, what's a good way we can get in front of companies looking for an SEO expert to help them scale their website? I've tried contacting different businesses, but all of them see SEO as an unnecessary expense and say that $500 per month is too much. I don't think much can be achieved for lower unless quality suffers or the work is something very specific. Yeah, $500 a month, I don't even get out of bed for that anymore. I'm sorry. It's just there's too much work with SEO guys. To $500 a month is just not worth your time or effort. So how do you get in front of people that are looking for it? Well, you know, if you want to get in front of people that are looking for it, set up an inbound marketing campaign. You know, one of the best things that you can do is learn how to run YouTube ads, and start running YouTube ads that run people to a landing page, you know, that you've set up that can, you know, talks about what you think you can do for them or whatever. You know, here's the thing: people that are looking for SEO companies that are looking for SEO services are probably going to be doing searches looking for that. Right? So get in front of them. I think YouTube is one of the best ways to do it because it's inexpensive and it's not that difficult to learn how to run YouTube ads. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet, which means you will spend some money before you can really start to dial a campaign in. But it's very, very targeted. People that go to YouTube that are looking for SEO help, SEO advice, you know, things like that. They're primed and ready to hear that message. And so you can get very, very targeted. And think about it, guys. You can create placement lists, which is essentially you can go out and scrape, and there's tools to do it. We have one. I don't know, Adam, if you can still hear, if we still have an affiliate link for TubeSift. That is one of the best tools for developing a placement list of monetized videos. So those are videos that play ads. So you can go in and actually like compile a list of YouTube videos that are popular, have a lot of traffic, that are talking specifically about SEO. And you can get your ad to play in front of them or during those videos as an in-stream ad, right? So that's a very, very, very targeted way to get in front of an audience that is specifically seeking SEO advice. All right. Another way is using Google Ads in-market audiences. There is a business services, SEO and SEM marketing in-market audience, which means you can get your ad in front of people, even if they're not at that moment searching for SEO help. If they have searched for SEO help within the last 30 days, they're in a bucket that Google has determined as in market or likely in market for SEO and SEM, so search engine marketing services. So that means your ad can play in front of them at any time because they are identified by Google as likely in market for those services. So even if they're not searching at that moment for SEO services, you can still get your message in front of them. And so, like I said, if you're looking to get in front of people that are actively seeking it, then there's no better way, in my opinion, than either to join SEO groups and start, you know, contributing and helping out, which is a really, you know, time-consuming way to do it. It works. Or set up inbound marketing campaign, because once you dial the campaign in, it just runs on autopilot. And those would be my two most effective methods for getting in front of people that are seeking SEO services. That's a whole lot different than interruption marketing or outbound prospecting, where you're, you know, forcing your message upon others, which is still an effective way, but you have to have a targeted audience at that point. So that's my take on it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got a different take on this, man. Because if he's getting in front of people that are saying $500 a month is too much, you're getting in front of the wrong people, wrong industry, or your messaging is completely wrong. The way that you're approaching this is completely wrong. There are plenty of people out there that are willing to spend between $1,500 and $2,500, and I can go on with this: $2,500 to $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000, $10,000 to $20,000, $25,000, hundreds of thousands a month. There are plenty of people. There are people who are willing to pay me $1,500 to $2,000 a month just for an hour of consultation. The money's there. You have to understand who you're getting in front of. If you're in roofing and you understand that a roofing contractor, a gig for them, one close call is worth $20,000 to $30,000. If you understand that, and you're not charging them anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 per closed lead if you're working leads, or per call if you're working call, or if you're not charging them at least $5,000 a month, then you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know how to sell yourself or your services, or you can't show results so that you can convince the people that you can get them these leads that are going to be that 20 to 30,000 gig. They get 10 of them in a year. They're good to go. Plus all of the little jobs that come along with it, and they've made it that you made them $1 million, and you look like a genius. But if you're only getting paid $500, you didn't do shit for yourself. You didn't do anything except make somebody else rich. Learn, man. This is something that I talk to people all the time about. If you learn your worth, if you learn the value that you bring to people, you would never allow someone to tell you, man, that's too much. Whatever it is that you're charging, they can't tell you, man, that's too much. If you told them $25K, they wouldn't be in front of you unless they knew what it was that you charge, unless they already knew what it was that you're going to hit them with, because they understand what industry they're in. So of course, if you got a carpet cleaner, you can't charge them $5K unless they're doing an industrial carpet in these mega complexes, and they're after that building, and that building is worth millions of dollars. Well, cool, that's different. Understand your industry, understand yourself, understand what you can, what value you bring. So you have to understand your value and what value you're bringing to the table, so that when you're in that negotiating, it's POFU. It's total POFU when you go into that negotiation from a position of power, not from a position of need or weakness, when they can smell it a mile away and understand, damn.
He's desperate. Desperate.
Yeah, I got him. They know. They smell desperation. These people make deals all day. These people are doing business all day with people trying to negotiate with them. They know. They know. So if you can't go in there with that supreme confidence, there's something wrong. When I see this, well, yeah, man, they're telling me $500 is too much. Man, there's something wrong with what you're doing. Go back and look at your entire process, how you're getting in front of people, and how it is that you're dealing with people, so that nobody ever tells you, no matter how much you charge, because it could be $1 and they'll tell you too much. And it could be 100,000 and nobody will ever, they won't blink, because they understand, people understand business. So something in your approach is not allowing them or keeping them from understanding the business side of this. That's my take on it. Adam?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, something I've had to remind myself of, and I still do from time to time, is like, don't forget to do the math for people. I agree completely with everything Bradley and Marco said here. Obviously there's a mismatch here. You need to figure that out, whether it's you or them. But, if you're doing this and it makes sense, do the math for them. If you're confident that you can bring in X amount of traffic and they can convert it at X percentage, and each lead is worth Y dollars, do the math, right? And tell them what this means to them. A lot of times we expect people to do that, and either they don't, or they're only looking at the expenses. So paint the picture for them. Say, I can bring you in 100, visitors, uniques a day. We can convert 10% of those. That's 10, and those are worth $100 each to you. That's $1,000 a day. Why wouldn't you pay me $500 a day, right? And I mean, obviously this is made up numbers, but walk them through that. You don't have to pull out some crazy fucking spreadsheet, but you should know this stuff. And if you don't, you need to do work to figure out some rough numbers. Of course, you never know exactly how it's going to convert, but do the math for them.
And you should be able to go into analytics, Search Console, and GMB if it's local, and walk the person through your results and what you can do, so that they can see it, they can visualize it, and say, damn, if he does this for me, they'll do the numbers quicker than you will. But you should also have the numbers. Man, they'll do the numbers and say, yeah, I need this guy. It will no longer be a matter of whether they want you. They'll understand that they need you, and conversely, you don't need them. Man, when that happens, when you understand POFU and how to deal from that standpoint, how to approach it from there, you can't lose, and you're going to be closing clients that you never thought you could close.
Yeah, so that, I think that's really important, is to, know the industries, whatever industries you choose to try to target, which could be more than one. I still truly subscribe to, I only focus on one industry now in my career. This late into my career, I just want to work with tree contractors because I know their margins are high. So why I started to say that was just because, like Marco said, was a great example. The very first lead gen site, besides for my own business when I was an electrical contractor, when I was first learning SEO, which was way back in tail end of 2009, I did it for my own website and 2 test sites. One was a locksmith and one was carpet cleaners. And Marco mentioned carpet cleaning, and that what I learned through that was I was able to rank all 3 of my sites: my electrical contracting site, a locksmith site in Richmond, Virginia, and a carpet cleaning site in Alexandria, Virginia, and a maps listing too for all 3 of them. And the carpet cleaning site, like, the margins were so small there, the search volume was through the roof, which is part of the reason why I targeted it. And once I started contacting carpet cleaning contractors and trying to sell the leads, and at that time I was doing rank and rent, so I was leasing the site out on a flat monthly fee. I had trouble getting it leased out for $150 a month. No shit. And even though like I was generating like 30 some calls per week from that site. I think the search volume at that time for that exact match search keyword was like carpet cleaning Alexandria, VA, was like 400 searches per month. And I was able to get to number one. And so I was getting a ton of calls, but the carpet cleaners didn't want to pay. And I found out why. And it was because their margins were so small, because Alexandria, Virginia has a lot of apartment buildings. So a lot of the carpet cleaning jobs were like these $69 like clean your apartment deals. And like they had such small margins because they had to pay for their employees, like, you know, the labor costs, essentially, insurance, the cleaning solution, fuel, like all that kind of stuff, to where they had very, very, very tiny profit margins. So even though I was generating a ton of calls through that site, it was very hard to monetize. And so that was a very valuable lesson to learn right out of the gate when I started my, started learning SEO and all of that, because I realized then to only go after industries that had higher margins. And that's eventually ultimately why I ended up in tree services, because they have huge margins. And Marco, you said roofing, that's another good one. Remodeling contractors is another good one. There are some of them out there where you can justify, you can justify a much higher cost, expenses, right, for what services that you offer, because the margins are there. So, you can select multiple industries. That's fine. Just do your research up front. Figure out who it is that you're talking to, what kind of what their average or median type of profit margins are, so that that they have the money, even if they don't want to spend it, that they have the ability to be able to afford your services. If that makes sense.
Commercial roofing, man, when you're talking about hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars on one deal. Yeah. You could never charge them $500, man, ever, because then what's your benefit? The benefit is all there. Where's the negotiation? Where's the quid pro quo? Where's the? It's insane to think this. Now, of course, if they close for $1 million, they have expenses, they have all these things, but their profit margin is still huge. The longer they've been in business, the greater the profit margin generally. Not always, but generally.
So Brody says, hey guys, what tools would you recommend for market keyword research for affiliate websites? Also, how would you?
What do you know?
I'm sorry?
No, what do you know? We happen to have the right thing for that.
Yeah, the mgyb keyword research. If you're going to do it on your own, it's very time consuming, but you can do it with a number of tools. Power Suggest Pro is one of our favorites still one of my favorites, which is it's a one-time fee. Semanticmastery.com/powersuggest, all one word, will take you there. I think might even still have a 20% off through our link, or $20 off through our link. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've looked at that, but that's a great tool. It's a one-time expense that pulls Google Suggest, scrapes Google Suggest keywords. So that's a great tool to start. Google Trends. I always start with Google Trends anyways. The Google Keyword Planner, the Google Ads Keyword Planner, still can be effective for a lot of stuff, even on the SEO side. I still use it quite a bit, but I also run a lot of ads. Then there's the different tools like, Uber Suggest and all those kind of things. So there are a number of tools out there. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, and it's also going to require time for you to learn how to use them and then kind of piece all of them together. Or you can go to mgyb and buy your keyword research, and we'll provide you with all the damn keywords in the entire market. So
our keyword research, although it takes 3 days to do it, right? It's still, we run all of the tools. We get deep into it, and we categorize everything for the client. You can give us the categories, or have us choose the category. So even though we do have software and we have all of these paid and free tools, there's others that Bradley didn't mention that we use. It takes 3 days. It takes several VAs, 24 working hours. I'm not going to say man hours, because there's girls that do it. There's one guy, sorry. So we'll say person hours. 24 person hours, 3 days, guys, to do the keyword research. So the question is, would you rather pay to have it done, or would you rather spend 3 days doing it? But think about this. You have to first learn how to use all of the different tools, how to go into the market, take a look at the market, take a look at the competition, and start focusing everything. So first you have to learn all of those things that our VAs already know before you could even hope to start doing the research and putting it all together. So it's not something that's simple. It's not just, okay, I'll take 3 days and do it. You have to know what you're doing and how.
Yeah. And I mean, like that's part of the reason I don't want to deal with any other types of contractors or anything now, because I know the tree service industry so well, and which keywords and all that, like all that's done. I don't have to do it anymore. They're not new keywords in the tree service industry. So, but when, anytime I've ever done keyword research on my own over the last several years, I mean, I could spend 4, 5, 6 hours doing keyword research just to get a really good comprehensive list, and then stacking the keywords in the proper silo structure or keyword themes or keyword sets. So it's a real pain in the balls. Honestly, you're better off just spending the money to have it done and have it delivered to you, the entire market for like the entire market level keywords, like everything. Like it's crazy. And then there's even with the top level, the deep keyword research, they even give you suggested silos and things like that. So the second part of that question was also, how would you approach an RYS stack for something like this, where a site has multiple categories? The same way we've always talked about it. You have the branded RYS stack in G site, right? This is the SEO Shield would be the branded stack. So basically built for and branded around the top level brand, right? Your brand itself. But then you would have RYS expansions, right? Or if you said it was for affiliate stuff, so you probably don't need location shields, which is more for local stuff, but you could do RYS expansion stacks. Go to mgyb.co and you'll see RYS expansions. You would order a separate expansion, which is basically siloing. It would be adding silos within your RYS drive stack and inner pages on your G site to mirror the site structure of your website. So if you have different categories, essentially silos on your main money site, each one of those silos would get an RYS expansion stack. That you're mirroring that same structure in your G site and your drive stack. And that's how you would do it with a drive stack or an SEO shield, essentially, for affiliate stuff. It's no different than what you would do for local. The only difference is you don't need the local stuff. You don't need the GMB and everything. So
listen, the great thing about duplicate content being a myth is that you could write tuned content on your website, right? One of the things that we're showing in the Heavy Hitter Club. Now that's your content. You are not going to file a takedown on your content. So you can now take your tuned content, including your categories and posts and whatever, and they can go anywhere else you want, because that's your content. It's your content, and you're going to give yourself a proper attribution on your content. So it can be a link back, however it is that you choose to credit yourself for the content. It could be your author going back to that. However it is, you're going to get content credit for your content, and you could use your content over and over and over again. And there's tools that will rewrite the content, that tools that I've shared with Bradley, we've shared back and forth, that will rewrite the content and won't touch the entities, the keywords that you set for the software not to touch. And it will rewrite the content except for those words that you need in there to focus on. It's just the software that's out there right now to write and to focus, to tune the content and focus on the entity is ridiculous. And each time that you redo the content, you're doing entity tuned content. And it doesn't matter if you just use the exact copy of the content or if you change it up, because it's your content. And if it's already tuned, then you know it works, and you know it's going to work. And it's going to work wherever it is that you add the content. And then you just link build and have it all end up and pushing whatever it is that you're trying to rank, whether it's the 3-pack, as Bradley mentioned, if it's organic, or if it's both. You could do both. You could do the map. You can rank videos. You can rank anything you want with the same approach. It's a foundational approach. It's not shortcuts. It's hard work. But pardon the pun, it works. The hard work works.
You just mentioned something. It just sparked an idea that I have not tested yet, which is entity tuned content as a YouTube video description. I have not tested with that yet. That's interesting. That's something I'm definitely going to put on my to-do list right now, because I've been tuning content for GMB stuff, for GMB websites and G sites and money sites and tier 1 link building purposes, but I have not tried it on a YouTube description yet. So that's interesting.
Entity tuned, as a matter of fact, your T1 descriptions.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you can go in the GMB.
You
tune the
could even
content.
tune the transcription that you upload as closed captions and all that.
Exactly.
Think about that. Yeah, that's insane. I haven't even thought about that. And because I don't do a lot of YouTube SEO stuff anymore, but because I usually just use Google Ads for YouTube traffic. But that could work. It could it's worth a test for sure. So all right, Nick, I already sent you an invitation to Slack for that group. Also, just ping me in Slack. In Slack, just private message me about the video stuff that you were asking about. I'm happy to have a chat with you in Slack. You know I hate Facebook, so that's a last resort. I prefer to chat in Slack, so please ping me there.
But also, I mean, he's in all the groups. All he
Yes.
has to do is
Yeah,
drop.
I don't know why he just didn't ask in the mastermind group. I really don't, but that's whatever. He's going to join my Build with Bradley group in Slack anyway. So we have a Build with Bradley webinar tomorrow, guys. The group went from 2 weeks ago, like 7 of us, to I think there's like 16 people in there now.
Cool.
So it's going to be a big group. But that's cool because I'm trying to learn how to build those kind of magic page sites as well. I was playing with it today, as a matter of fact. So, okay, next is Wahid. What's up, man? He says, hey, what is your opinion about running Google search ads for home services without a GMB? Is it profitable? Sure, it can be. For lead gen, it's not. It's very difficult to, in my opinion, to be profitable if you're selling leads that you're generating with Google Ads, search ads. Because at least in my industry, tree service industry right now, it's the busy season. So in some of the areas, it's literally $45, $50 per click. And it usually, a good conversion rate, if you have well optimized ads and you have a good landing page, is about a 30% conversion ratio. So you got to think about that. It takes 3 clicks to get a conversion. And, $40, $45 a click, you're paying $120 for a fucking conversion. It's almost impossible to monetize that when you're selling leads. So I don't do it. If I have a client that wants me to run ads, then I will run ads. And it usually but typically I suggest against Google search ads for contractors now because it is very difficult. It's so expensive. Again, it depends on the industry. Does it make sense if it's exclusive leads because I'm running a Google Ads campaign for a tree contractor, for example, and it takes $120 and 3 clicks at $40 per click for a tree removal job, a tree removal lead to come in. Is it worth it? Well, very likely, yes, because they might pay $120 to get that tree removal lead that, on average in our area, a tree removal job is on average $1,500, right? And that's average. It varies wildly, but that's on average. So was it worth it? Of course it was. But on a lead gen side of things, it's very difficult to monetize that. So it just depends on what it is that, who you're generating leads for, Wahid. If it's for your own business, it's very difficult, in my opinion. Again, I don't know what industry you're in, but you said home services. And I found that, if you're doing ads for a client and their margins are high, then yes, it can be profitable. But if you're running ads to generate leads that you can turn around and sell, it's very difficult to monetize those leads, except for, like I said, if you get good at YouTube ads, you can get relatively cheap leads that way. It takes some dialing in to do, but also I found that if you're doing call only ads, that you can typically get better results, like as far as your cost per acquisition or cost per lead, you can get significantly lower than traditional search and click ads, like, they go to a landing page because they're call only ads. I've found I can still oftentimes make those profitable, even on a lead gen side of things, but it's so much work though. I'd rather just focus on organic and maps SEO to achieve the same kind of results without having to piss through a bunch of money in Google ad spend. If that makes sense. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, I was seeing numbers the other day from across multiple home service niches. And the way that it goes is the map pack gets the highest percentage of clicks, then ads. So people are focusing on maps, then the Google ads that are right above the map pack, and then the organic.
Yeah.
And organic, it's only like 3 or 4. If you're not like top 5 organic, top 3 probably, then you're not getting, I'm not going to say none. You're getting hardly any action.
That's correct. Yeah. And think about it, because, unless you're in the top 3, like Marco said, and even then, a lot of the times, especially for home service type type of search queries, guys, that Google has pushed the organic listings below the fold.
Yep.
Right, below the viewable area on most monitors and devices. So like you don't even see organic unless you scroll a third of the way down the page. And so that's part of the reason. I totally agree. And I've got these stats from my own tree service work that 80% of the leads that I've generated over the last decade for tree service contractors have come through maps. Only about 5% through ads, believe it or not, and 15% through organic search, organic links, right? The organic section. And I went back and looked at a lot of my data and I proved that out. And so, like I said, for me, it's just not worth focusing on ads because it's such a small margin and yet it only produces 5% of the results, whereas 80% come through maps, which is why I focused on that almost exclusively for the last many years. But more recently, I've been also targeting organic stuff because I'm doing some mass page build and I wanted to kind of get back into ranking organically as well. And 15% of the leads is worth it, in my opinion. Especially if you can combine that with the maps rankings, then you end up with about 95% of the market share, essentially. So, okay, that was it. We're just about on time too. Anybody else?
Good to go.
I think we're good to go. All
Yep.
right.